Hey everyone, thanks again for joining us. So in the last episode, we went into the details around people. Again, people and the expense associated with the scaling of a business is probably 70 to 80% driven by the cost of people. Today, in this episode, episode 5, we're actually going to touch on custom tables. Now, we hear a lot about custom tables in Giraffe. In the world of spreadsheets, we don't always refer to the build out of some of the detail that goes into the modeling of, say, your revenue, your cost of goods sold, or your pricing, your volume, your customer acquisition. But in the world of Giraffe, we call it custom tables. So help our practitioner friends here understand maybe an analogy between custom tables in Giraffe and in what is a custom table in a spreadsheet. Maybe that'll help baseline people.
How I've talked about it is that the custom tables are really the revenue build out. It's the revenue model behind what flows into your P&L, right?
So is a custom table a driver, an assumption?
No.
Like
it's the compilation of a lot of those in the way that kind of flows into the P&L, right? Think of Excel. What you usually have is you have your P&L tab, right, or your forecasting tab, and then you'll have a separate tab usually that we all built for our clients that is actually the underlying detail, right?
So the underlying, say, pricing, volume, even bookings, right? Distribution, the bookings, the customer acquisition strategy, all of that is built in a spreadsheet in one of those tabs. And sometimes we call it like the revenue build out, right? The revenue model. So in Giraffe, we don't call it the revenue model, we call it custom tables.
Yeah, I kind of think about it in another like oversimplistic way as a custom table, because you can have multiple, right? And they can all be for different purposes. But think of a custom table as an extra tab in your Excel spreadsheet, right? It's an extra place that you can build out a model, whatever that may be for, right?
So in other words, you don't have to just slap a CAGR on last month's revenue or last year's revenue and sort of do it the super simplistic way of saying, my revenue is going to grow 10, 15% every year for the next 5 years. You can actually add the detail behind that. And why is that important, Corey? Think about the last episode when we talked about hiring and driver-based hiring, we call it in Giraffe, right? Those driver-based hirings, they can actually be driven off of custom tables, right? In other words, the more bookings, the more customers I have. Well, guess what? If I anticipate on having my revenue operations team grow bookings and lead gen by 20%, well, I may need a few salespeople and marketing folks and maybe even some customer success folks, right? So all of that comes out of custom tables.
Yeah, Jirav makes it super simple to connect those, say, the revenue model with the customer build out and customer ramp up to things like your OpEx or to COGS or to staffing, right? You can connect the dots between the number of customers that you have, translating down into number of units sold, translating down into staffing, et cetera, et cetera.
Yeah, no, that's good. So you, the practitioner, part of our job is to help our customers, the founding team, the management team, helping them understand those pivotal moments, those inflection points where we make decisions. And custom tables helps lay out what those decision points are. And so in this next section of this video, Corey, one of your team members, you guys are going to run us through some of these custom tables.
We're going to have the team talk about what a custom table, like what it looks like, how to build it, but most importantly, some of the best practices around structuring, formatting, building that up into your P&L and balance sheet.
Yeah, this is great. Thank you. Hey everyone, thanks again for watching. If you're enjoying this, please do me a favor. Like it, comment, and subscribe. Appreciate it.
I'm going to be orienting us to the custom tables today. This will include everything from how to build them out, how to navigate, how to link them, and then just overall some best practices. So we're going to start out on the back-end settings under the Setup and Custom Table section. If you haven't built out a custom table, I would recommend starting here. On this, you'll be given a general starting point for a custom table. Once again, this is only a starting point, and if you want to add more tables, you can head over here to the top right, Manage Tables, and add one out right here. Once you've added a custom table for whatever category you're looking for, right, you'll see in this general GrowthLab demo, we have based on sales, some KPIs, some marketing, some point of sale, SaaS, and some balance sheet items. Depending on your specific client or customer, you may want to just have one for sales, one for OpEx. You may want to have one for headcount, right? If you have some headcount drivers that we'll go through. But generally speaking, I'm going to be using this sales direct as an example for today. There's 3 different row types for your custom tables, as you can see right here. We have sections, new lines, and we also have what's called reference, which is not represented in this specific table. A section is going to provide the ability to categorize different accounts. You'll have the ability to close these sections to simplify and consolidate the views, or most importantly, it's really just a way to keep these custom tables clean. You'll find yourself oftentimes finding new ways to build out the custom tables, and leveraging sections is going to be one of your best friends. It's going to help keep things organized, consolidated, and especially when you're in a meeting with a customer, when you're trying to navigate back and forth and find a specific row or line item, this is going to be your best friend. New lines are simply that. They are custom lines that you can use in a variety of different ways. You can have them either as a number, money, or percentage. This is mostly going to be represented on the dashboards and reports. You have your period value. Once again, this is going to be via your dashboards and reports, where you can have balance. Think of your balance sheet, right? It's going to pull your most recent value for that. Sum, where it's going to summarize all of the numbers in this account or in this line for whatever time frame you are selecting for that dashboard or report. And then you have average. Average is going to be a great way to look at things such as monthly user counts. How many did I add on average? Or growth rates, right? There's different ways that you'll find the ability to use that. Color, this is lastly also going to be represented in your dashboards or reports. This is a great way to just clean things up and create consistency. AKA revenue, you'll always want to have that dark green, COGS that orange, OpEx that orange, and then you have some custom other ones down here. This is just going to be able to create consistency for you and the ability to have things nice and clean and organized. Lastly, some best practices. Keep this allow import off unless you are directly planning to use it for Google Sheets imports. The reason being is it's just one less thing that the system has to process on the back end, right? If you have 10 custom tables with 50 lines each and they all have allow imports, even though it's not pulling in numbers, right? That's just another thing that the system is processing and has the ability to slow down your model. When we talk about scalability and sustainability, this is obviously one of those keys. Lastly, blank rows. Blank rows are also going to be a very valuable piece of cleaning up and making things organized for you. I'd recommend spending the time up front to organize these custom tables in a way that is visually appealing so that you're not searching through 100 different rows while a customer is on the phone watching you. It just goes back to the ability to navigate quickly. If I head over here to this custom row, you'll see that this is the actual table that we just went through, that sales direct. Everything is consolidated right now. You can navigate that by just pressing collapse all, or to show you guys what I'm about to do, I'm going to expand all of them. And you'll see that that's going to expand all of the underlying categories, as well as show me what the underlying drivers are to them. You can just click this little button to either expand them or collapse them, which as I'm doing right here. And you'll see we're still left at the end of this, even with those blank rows between it. Once you're in the custom table, you'll see 2 things, and this is going to be represented both in the custom tables as well as in any of these revenue, COGS, staffing, OpEx, or any of these categories over here, this blue. When a line item is blue, it means you have the ability to directly enter a number, right? I can enter a number there and save it. If it is not blue, it is white with black text, as you can see with these 2, that means that there is a driver currently attached to it, or it is before your cutover date. Cutover date is the first month of your forecast. You are still able to add hard codes to these numbers. However, you just have to open it up and you can see there's one right here, right? We have a driver for 120,000 per month, but then we also have one stacked number right here that has been hard coded to make the total 121 for that specific month. You are able to stack drivers, as I like to call them, if you need multivariable equations, right? Jirav, as you know by now, will allow you to do 2 inputs, right? And these inputs can be a variety of different things. However, what you find sometimes is you may want to also add a third level of detail to that, right? Some things that you'll find it's easy to do in Excel, some best practices for Jirav is you may add two numbers and subtract a third, right? For that, even though you only have two inputs, you can stack a driver, which will allow you to add two and then do a third as a negative number. The way you would do that is take the line times a constant of -1. When it sums the two, it's going to give you that A plus B minus C. Lastly, remember that these custom tables are built by themselves, right? Unless you are pointing them to the revenue or the P&L or anywhere on the balance sheet, these numbers will live by themselves, right? So remember that this is just the back-end build-up, right? Use this to your ability to build out the detail behind things, but don't automatically assume that it's automatically going to be represented on your P&L or balance sheet. We'll get to some of that linkage in some of our next videos. Drop us a comment if you have any specific questions around your specific model. Happy to jump on with you and show you how we would take that as best practice approach. Looking forward to it.
That was great. So thanks for watching. Please subscribe. Leave us some feedback. Also, check out our website, growthlabfinancial.com. Again, subscribe so you can be notified for the next one.